Welcome to the shooting show. This week we return to the start of last year's red stag season with Dalton looking for a cull beast. Plus we bring you all the latest news from the shooting world.
Up at Kinnaird in Perthshire, it's an estate I manage up there. I took Tony with me. We were trying to get one of the early season stags on camera, 1st of July opening day. We've done quite a bit of work up there. I've done quite a bit of work up there on the deer management side, and we've been shooting under the general licence in some of the woodland areas. It's an SSI, fairly important for native juniper, and there are some woodland grant creation schemes which we're going to be working on over the next probably 5 years or so. So the deer management up there is fairly key, but there is a large area of open hill on the estate, so I wanted to take a few of the cull stags. Now that's not under, doesn't come under the auspices of the general licence, so we obviously need to wait for in-season shooting up there. So this really is the first foray just to see if we can get some of the youngsters, maybe one of the young stags out, just have a look at what's happening. Tony's one of my regulars, he helps me out quite frequently, so he's on the rifle and he had me on the camera. What you tend to find with the hill reds is that the hinds, obviously with calves, you got a lot of young calves on, tend to hold the better ground. So the low to medium areas of the hill, you do find a high concentration of hinds, with the stags tending to be pushed up to the top at the back on the high hill, keeping out the flies and the midges. And that's exactly what we found. You probably see from shot we were tripping over female deer.
Okay, we've got a group of reds just moving across the corner of the moor there.
Fallow, roe and red.
Okay, we've got a roe doe led down there, just tucked in the bracken. No idea where here. Check around and see if there's a buck anywhere near. Probably not at this time of year. She's probably got a kid somewhere not far away. But we'll just watch and see.
Problem being, it was incredibly difficult to get through any of the hinds without spooking them, to get sort of beyond them to try and pick up some of the younger stags from a bit higher up.
Okay, we're now up on the edge of the moor and there were red deer just over the hill. They're checking the wind now, which is good for us. I'll use this dead ground to try and get into a position where we can see what we've got.
We did see some stags in some of the groups, but again the stags were always in a position at the wrong end or the wrong side of the hill from us, if you like, to get into the stag. So it was a frustrating morning. We did then try to get out in the evening and see if we could do any better. We stalked nicely into several females. In fact, we sat for a while on a hillside and glassed into a doe quite happily below us, unaware that we were there, chewing away quite merrily. She probably had a kid somewhere in the vegetation not far away. And then we kind of tracked up a little bit higher onto a plateau, which basically is right on the edge of the moor where the woodland bounds it. And we sat on the hill, quite a nice afternoon actually, and really just waited. We could glass a big area from there, hopefully then seeing something that was shootable coming out to play. Probably, I don't know, probably 45 minutes before dark, we did then get some deer coming out of the trees. There were one or two nice stags amongst them, quite big, quite well grown heads already, so they're going to make trophy animals, and one or two young staggies with them. So we probably just had enough light to get into them, so we kind of made a beeline to try and get in to see if we could get one of the young stags out of that group. 20-25 minutes before dark we managed to get across within range, and we were able to shimmy up a bank, if you like, overlooking where the deer were. You probably see on the clip Tony getting into position, and then from there we had sort of 4 or 5 deer close to us, one of which was a young yearling stag, little sort of knobby antlers on about that big, which ideally fitted the cull plan. So fortunately Tony was able to get into a real stable shooting position, and by that time they were coming along the side of a wall and able to take a high neck shot. So finally we got the red deer shot on camera. So a good 2 days actually. Okay, that's Tony. Finally we managed to catch up with a young stag, perfect cull animal. Little staggy there, lovely condition, nice neck shot. It was the only shot option actually. Instantaneously dead, see the entry there, but always have a quick look for any ticks. But lovely clean, few on but nothing much there. Lovely clean stag, that'll be one good for the table. Lot of fat on the saddle there. Part of the level 2, just check externally. Any obvious signs of anything, but you can see straight away by looking at this young stag that that's a lovely beast. So we'll do a growlick.
Chris there, adhering to his cull plan. And now, it's the Shooting Show News.
This is the Shooting Show News. A new anti-grouse shooting film is misleading and full of copyright infringement, and it falsely claims support from a national political party. Released last weekend, the film features Mark Avery and says it was commissioned by the Green Party, who say they had nothing to do with it. Basque's Duncan Thomas said Mark Avery is part of a group which is not being honest with the public. This film is littered with misinformation and ill-informed rhetoric, which is no less than we've come to expect from these extremists. Meanwhile, Basque continues its work to get more people out on grouse moors. It's put legacy funding to use to get more than 300 schoolchildren out on the North York moors, and it said the scheme should be a model for future conservation work with schools. Basque chairman Peter Glenser said legacy funding translated directly into smiles on the faces of young people up on the moors. It enables these children to see conservation at close quarters and to sample the amazing wildlife which is such a feature of this region. The new Environment Secretary has spoken out in praise of shooting. Michael Gove said at an event in Parliament that people involved in shooting understand in their DNA the need to sustain diverse habitats. Speaking to the All-Party Group for Game and Wildlife Conservation, he said those who have an interest in shooting have, by definition, an interest in sustainability. And finally, the shooting show's director has jumped out of a plane in the name of conservation. He completed a tandem parachute jump with the Red Devils, the parachute regiment's display team. As well as making it to the ground in one piece, he also raised £3,000 for Save the Rhino International. If you'd like to donate, head to the address on screen now. That was the Shooting Show News.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And if you're not a member of Basque, it's time to join now. Basque, looking after your sport, looking after you. This has been The Shooting Show.